Research process 11 steps. Research process steps. Formulate research problem. Literature review. Development of hypothesis. Preparing research design. Determining sample design. Data collection. Execution of project. Analysis of data. Hypothesis testing. Generation and interpretation. Preparation of report. Research process steps. Formulate research problem. Definition: identifying and defining a specific research question or problem that the study aims to address. This step sets the direction and focus of the research. Practical tip: be clear and specific in defining the research problem. Consider the relevance, significance, and feasibility of the problem you choose. Research process steps. 2. Literature review. Definition: reviewing existing literature, studies, and research related to the chosen research problem. This step helps in understanding the current state of knowledge, identifying gaps, and building a theoretical framework. Practical tip: use academic databases, journals, and reputable sources for literature review. Take notes, organize findings, and critically analyze the literature to identify key themes and trends. Research process steps. 3. Development of hypothesis. Definition: formulating a hypothesis or a tentative statement that predicts the relationship between variables or outcomes based on the research problem and existing knowledge. Practical tip: ensure that your hypothesis is testable, specific, and based on logical reasoning. Consider the direction of the relationship, e.g., positive, negative, and variables involved. Research process steps. 4. Preparing research design. Definition: planning and structuring the overall research approach, methodology, and procedures. This includes deciding on the research design, e.g., experimental, descriptive, correlational, and data collection methods. Practical tip: choose a research design that aligns with your research objectives and hypothesis. Consider factors such as time, resources, ethical considerations, and the type of data needed. Research process steps. 5. Determining sample design. Definition: selecting the appropriate sample size, sampling technique, and sampling frame for data collection. This step ensures that the sample is representative of the target population. Practical tip: use random sampling techniques when possible to minimize bias. Calculate the sample size based on statistical considerations, such as confidence level and margin of error. Research process steps. 6. Data collection. Definition: collecting data according to the research design and sampling plan. This involves gathering information from participants, surveys, experiments, observations, or secondary sources. Practical tip: use standardized data collection tools, ensure data quality and accuracy, and maintain ethical standards in data collection procedures. Research process steps. 7. Execution of project. 1. Definition: implementing the research plan and conducting data collection, experiments, or interventions as per the research design. 2. Practical tip: stay organized, adhere to timelines, and monitor progress regularly. Address any unforeseen challenges or issues that may arise during the project. Research process steps. 8. Analysis of data. Definition: processing, organizing, and analyzing the collected data using statistical or qualitative analysis techniques. This step involves summarizing findings and identifying patterns or relationships. Practical tip: choose appropriate data analysis methods based on the research design and type of data collected. Use software tools like SPSS, R, or Excel for statistical analysis. Research process steps. 9. Hypothesis testing. Definition: evaluating the validity of the hypothesis by statistically testing the relationship between variables or comparing groups. This step involves applying statistical tests and interpreting results. Practical tip: use significance levels, e.g., p-values, to determine the strength of evidence for or against the hypothesis. Clearly report the results of hypothesis testing in your research report. Research process steps. 10. Generation and interpretation. Definition: generating conclusions, interpretations, and insights based on the data analysis and hypothesis testing. This step involves discussing findings in relation to the research problem and objectives. Practical tip: present findings objectively and avoid over-interpreting results. Discuss implications, limitations, and areas for further research. Research process steps. 11. Preparation of report. Definition: documenting the entire research process, findings, conclusions, and recommendations in a structured research report or thesis. Practical tip: follow a clear and logical structure for the research report, e.g., introduction, methodology, results, discussion. Use appropriate formatting, citations, and references following academic standards. Thank you for your time. Happy studying. Keep exploring and learning.